Good morning, everyone. It is 10 o'clock straight up. So those of you who've ever joined us before, we like to start and end on time. I'm Rebecca. I am the CEO and co-founder for Veterans in Business Network. The VIB Network advocates on behalf of all veteran businesses nationwide. We offer training, workshops, and webinars like this one here. We have, if you don't know, we have a free directory. I encourage you to join that if you are a veteran business, so that these opportunities we can find you for these opportunities. Also, we have an opportunity board, which is free. You can check that out at any time. We have a newsletter. If you're here, you might have seen our newsletter. And then we have our national conference, which is coming up in November 14th and 15th. Just want to give you a little heads up. Registration is now open for our national conference, which will be here in San Diego. This is where corporations, government agencies, and prime contractors come to connect and meet veteran businesses nationwide. Some of the highlights that we have, you want to make sure that you are registering for veteran businesses and now until I think it's July 29th. You can get in at the early bird rate. Plus, you can also do an extra networking opportunity with team building exercises. It's going to be a lot of fun. We have our tactical networking, which is roundtable business matchmaking. We have old school business one-on-one matchmaking. We have 2 different expos, motivational speakers, seminars, and then our above and beyond award banquet dinner. So if you want to make sure you register as soon as possible, you can check the VIBconference.com website, and that will tell you more information about that. We are very fortunate to have so many wonderful sponsors. Without their support, we couldn't offer this for free. So thank you to T-Mobile, Southern California Edison, Merck, Union Bank, and PG&E for their support. So we're able to offer this wonderful webinar coming up. There is a lot of great things happening in the CPUC. This actually was scheduled. I'll just go a little bit into it a little bit. This was actually scheduled to be this webinar a couple months ago, and then we found out all this changes going to the CPUC. So it seemed really, we're very excited about offering this webinar and all the changes and how this is going to support the veteran business community nationwide as well. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to Stephanie Green. She's the CPUC Community Outreach Supervisor. She's been a great friend to the VIB Network. She has a wealth of knowledge, of course, when it comes to working with utilities. And then she's going to share all this new and exciting information so that disabled veterans can now do work in California. So without a further ado, I'm going to hand it on over to Stephanie. Thank you so much.
Good morning, and thank you for having me. As Rebecca just said, I am Stephanie Green. I am with the California Public Utilities Commission. Next slide, please. And just for those of you who may not be familiar, I'll just take a couple minutes to tell you a little bit about the commission. We regulate privately owned electric, natural gas, telecommunications, water, railroad, rail transit, and passenger transportation companies. That's a mouthful. So basically, if you have electricity, if you have a cell phone, if you have water, if you've ever taken Uber or Lyft, if you've ever taken the rail, we impact your lives. So that's the breadth of some of what we do. We ensure access to safe, clean, and reliable services and infrastructure at reasonable rates. We protect against consumer fraud, and we promote the healthy economy of California. Next slide. Next slide. I'd like to tell you a little bit about some of the policies and programs that we have that are impacting your community. You know what, Rebecca, it looks like the slide's a little askew. I don't know what's going on, but hopefully it won't get any worse. Some of the policies are energy efficiency, renewable energy, demand response, time varying rates, electric vehicles, smart grid, your transmission planning and permitting, energy generation and energy infrastructure safety. We have a lot of public purpose programs and assistance programs that are available. We have energy assistance like our California Alternate Rates for Energy, our CARE program. We have California Lifeline, which offers telecommunications assistance, deaf and disabled communications program, low income energy efficiency, telecommunications scam and fraud protection, and assistance with consumer complaints and safety inspection. Next slide. So now I'd like to tell you a little bit about the Supplier Diversity Program. Well, it encourages utilities and electric service providers to procure with diverse firms. That's women, minority, disabled veterans, LGBT, in all categories of their procurement, and they have to report annually. It also requires community choice aggregators to submit plans for how they're going to procure from small, local, and diverse businesses, and they have to report on that diverse procurement. And it encourages cable, television, and direct broadcast satellite providers, wholesale power generators, energy resource contractors, and energy storage system companies to adopt plans for increasing their procurement from diverse firms. And the CPUC is required annually to report on the legislature on the program's performance. I would tell you the program has an overall goal of 21.5%. That's 15% with minorities, 5% with women, and 1.5% with disabled veteran business enterprises. And again, the commission reports every year to the legislature in depth on the performance of the program. Next slide. So to give you a feel for the breadth of the program, last year the program was $12.3 billion. That's billion with a B, and that's when we did 31.4% with diverse firms. So we far exceeded the 21.5% goal. I'm excited to say that we exceeded the DVBE goal of 1.5%. We came in at 2.1% and almost $811 million spent with DVBE firms last year in California. And you can see also that we exceeded the minority as well as the women-owned goals. Next slide, please. So that gives you a breadth of the program. Tell you a little bit about, there's about 30 firms that participate in the program. In the communications sector, that is AT&T, Verizon, Comcast, Cox. On the energy side, we have PG&E, Southern California Edison, San Diego Gas and Electric, SoCal Gas. We have water companies like Cal-Am Water, San Jose Water, San Gabriel, Suburban. And I'm happy to note that quite a few of these names were mentioned as sponsors by Rebecca earlier. So we thank them for their participation. But again, these are some of the participating companies. Next slide. Our participating CCAs, we have 15 community choice aggregators that are now participating in the program. You can see MCE, Clean Power Alliance are two of the larger ones. And we have Pioneer, Silicon Valley, CalChoice, Valley Clean Energy, San Jose. Again, 15 different community choice aggregators participating in the program. Next slide. So now that I've given you a feel for who's a part of the program and what the program is, I'd also like to now tell you about our Supplier Clearinghouse. The Supplier Clearinghouse is supervised by the CPUC Supply Diversity Program. That is myself and my team. And the Clearinghouse verifies the diverse status of firms. Now, I will say women, minority, LGBT get certified directly with the Clearinghouse. For DVBE, DVBEs get certified by the Department of General Services, or DGS. Once you're certified by DGS, those firms are automatically put into our Supplier Clearinghouse database. That information imports automatically. The Clearinghouse maintains our diverse database. That database is used by all the participating entities. Next slide, please. So now I want to tell you a little bit about a recent rulemaking that expanded the program and made some changes. As of April 7th, so just about a week ago, the commission adopted a new rulemaking, and that rulemaking made several changes. First, it adopted the mandates of Senate Bill 255, and that bill expanded the program by adding community choice aggregators as well as electric service providers. And it encourages the voluntary participation by certain non-utility entities, and those are wholesale electric generators, distributed energy resource contractors, and energy storage companies. So again, the rulemaking expanded the program to some new participants. Next slide. In addition, the rulemaking adopted an LGBT goal. That goal is staggered. It gets to 1.5% in 3 years. So in 2023, it's 0.5%, 24, it's 1%, and then in 25, it goes to 1.5%, it will remain. So it really adopts a 1.5% goal, but it has that 3-year process to get there. And next, I'm really excited to say that it incorporated, could you go back? I hadn't switched. You advanced too quickly. Go back. Okay, one more. And I'm excited to say that it adopted disabled-owned business enterprises. And it also requires now that the utilities will include data on their workforce and board diversity. So those are 2 more exciting changes to the program, especially adding disabled-owned business enterprises. Next slide. Now, I want to talk to you about, so what does this mean to California disabled veterans and veterans? Now, if you're a California firm, California Disabled Veteran Business Enterprises may get certified by DGS as a disabled veteran business enterprise. DGS requires firms to be California domiciled to get certified. So these DVB firms that get certified by DGS, and once they're in that DGS database, are automatically added into our Supplier clearinghouse database. Now, with the addition of this new category of disabled business enterprises, DVBE firms who are in our clearinghouse will now be issued a second certification as a disabled business enterprise. So now our California disabled veteran-owned businesses will have 2 certifications. They'll have the DVBE, or Disabled Veteran Business Enterprise certification, and then they'll also now have this Disabled Business Enterprise, the DBE certification. So that's our California firms. The out-of-state firms. Now, if you're a disabled veteran-owned firm and you're outside of California, you are not eligible to get certified as a DVBE because you wouldn't satisfy that California domicility requirement. However, now non-California disabled veteran-owned firms can now apply to the clearinghouse or to DisabilityIN for disabled business enterprise certification. So again, these firms cannot get a DVBE certification, but they can now get a DBE, or Disabled Business Enterprise certification. So that's exciting. It is expanding the program to more of our veterans and in particular disabled veterans.
I have a quick question. So the out-of-state, the disabled, that is now in the works now? It's already voted on? Can you give a little more background on what the process is for that?
It was just voted on the 11th, so the disabled are now officially part of the program. However, obviously it will take some time for these companies to incorporate into the program. So right now all of our participating entities should be starting to build up the infrastructure and their billing and their outreach to start incorporating them into the program and start collecting that data in 2023. And the first year that they'll report is on their 2023 program year. So our reports come in March 1st. So that March 1st of 2024, they will report on their 2023 performance, which will include disabled as a category.
Okay, excellent. So now is the time for them collecting the data, and next year is when they're going to report the data they've collected. But it has, but it does not have,
Next year will be the first year of full data collection. Right now, they're building the infrastructure, but they are not required to start reporting on it until they have a full year, which would be the 2023.
excellent, and it does not have any percentage yet.
There is no goal. That will have to be a goal setting process, which will be a next phase on future rulemaking.
Excellent, thank you so much.
So main takeaway, building the program now, start reporting in 2023. And that means start data collection in 2023 and report on 2023. Next slide. So the CPUC encourages all of our diverse firms to get certified. Certification is free. There's no fee to apply. Qualified applicants are entered into our supplier database that is accessed by all of our participating entities throughout the state. And generally, certification is granted within 30 days, and it is valid for 3 years. So again, no cost, 30 days, and it's valid for 3 years. Next slide. Just highlighting some of the benefits of certification and why you want to consider getting certified. First, it gives you official recognition of your firm as being a diverse firm. It sets your business apart in the marketplace. Your business will be in a database that is utilized by all of our participating entities to search for diverse firms to include in their bid opportunities. It increases your business visibility. In their annual reports, all of our participating entities are only allowed to include purchases from certified firms. Your business will be included in our event materials and marketing, so you'll have access to webinars, workshops, training. And overall, certification increases your confidence, gets you respect from your peers, it enhances your credibility, it improves your reputation, and increases your earning power, your marketability, and it gives you a competitive advantage. Next slide. The Supplier Clearinghouse, to get certified, your business must be 51% owned by the minority, woman, disabled, or LGBT business, and the day-to-day management and control of the business must rest with that diverse entity. So it's not just ownership, it's day-to-day control and management of the firm by our diverse entities. Certification is free. Application is reviewed within 4 weeks. And certification doesn't need to be renewed until 3 years. So every 3 years. And finally, oh, it looks like you wanted to ask some.
Actually, yes, I have a couple questions. So one question is, are the SBA's Vet First CVE certification sufficient documentation to be recognized out of state service disabled veteran small businesses for your DVE, or are there other requirements to document out of state disabled veteran? What are you looking for as far as out of state documentation for a veteran to be certified and work with utilities?
Those documents are both acceptable. There's a whole list. I'd have to pull it up. But yes, the 2 documents you just referenced are on the list.
Okay, so if they do have their SDVOSB certification from the
Yes,
state, then they just have to go into the clearinghouse
or DisabilityIN. They would go into the clearinghouse and follow the certification online process, and it has a list of documents. And yes, that is amongst that list. There's other things too that they can provide, and they go through that certification process. They may not also go to DisabilityIN.
Okay. Excellent. And then one more question: how do you distinguish between disadvantaged business (DBE) and disabled business enterprise?
I'm sorry, can you restate the question?
Yeah, how do you distinguish between DBE, disadvantaged business enterprise, and disabled business enterprise?
I'm sorry. So we have disabled business enterprises and we have DVBE. As I said, DVBE, you have to be California domicile, go to the Department of General Services. And then separately, we now have disabled business enterprises, which I was referring to as DBE. And disabled business enterprise, as I said, you may go to the clearinghouse or you may go to DisabilityIN. Again, it's just passed on April 11th, hot off the presses. So obviously we have to build up that process, but yes, you will be able to go to the clearinghouse and you will be able to go to DisabilityIN to get a disabled business enterprise certification, which is DBE. I'm just referring to it as DBE.
Yeah, okay, excellent. So you're referring to disabled business enterprise. That is the one that you're going to be working with disability inclusion.
Correct.
So DBE is, there is two named the same thing. So they are.
No, there's not two names. Well, DVBE is disabled veteran business enterprise. Yes. That have to be California domicile, go to DGS. We are now adding a new category, disabled business enterprise, DBE.
Yes.
One has a V, one doesn't. One you have to be California domiciled. But let's just say disabled veteran business enterprise, California, Department of General Services, disabled business enterprise, you may go to the clearinghouse or DisabilityIN.
So somebody
is that
asked,
clear?
Yes, that is clear. So somebody asked, if you are a DVBE in California, do you have to apply to be the disabled as well?
Okay. If you are a disabled veteran business enterprise, DVBE, and you got certified through DGS, you would now be in our Supplier Clearinghouse database. Once you're in the Supplier Clearinghouse, we will now be issuing those DVBE, disabled veteran business enterprise, a second certification as a disabled business enterprise. So now these entities will have two certifications. They will have their disabled veteran business enterprise, and they will now be issued a second certification as a disabled business enterprise.
Well, you've made a lot of people very happy, so they don't have to go back in. If you're,
they will not. They will automatically be issued that second certification.
Oh, I think everybody's going, phew, okay.
And they will have two designations now, two different certifications.
Excellent. All right, continue on, Stephanie. Thank you.
Just noting, it isn't just the ownership, it's also, we want that company's day-to-day management and operations to be in control, to be with the disabled, to be with the diverse entity. Certification is free, takes 4 weeks, good for 3 years. Next slide. We have Reciprocity with National Minority Supplier Development Council, the Women Business Enterprise National Council, the National Gay Lesbian Chamber of Commerce, 8A, and DisabilityIN. So that you are certified with those entities, you can go to our clearinghouse and we have a sort of streamlined comparable agency verification process, which is faster. So we do have reciprocity with these entities. Next slide, and which is going to wrap it up for me. Next slide. This is our Supplier Clearinghouse website and telephone number, www.thesupplierclearinghouse.com. Info, and then 800-359-7998. Next slide. And because I love my businesses, I just wanted to leave you with some tips that I love to just tell folks. So here are a few tips for success. Take advantage of certifications, get certified, be proactive, be persistent, but you also have to be patient. Build those relationships, network. Attend events like this. You want to get involved. Do your homework and your research. Create a list of target companies you're interested in working with. Always be prepared. Find advisors and peers and learn from others in your network so you can gain knowledge. Narrow your focus. You don't have to be try and be a master of all. Sometimes it's better to have a niche, a real focus, to know your strengths and your competitive advantage, utilize those, and know your business value. Market yourself and your business. Go ahead and ask questions. That's how you learn. Bid on contracts. You got to go for it. Have a great website and online presence. Always have your capability statement ready and focus on building relationships with those decision makers and pay close attention to what's going on the companies that you're targeting. So those are just a few tips. With that, next slide. And that concludes it for me, Stephanie Green, California Public Utilities Commission. And back to you, Rebecca.
I just have a couple of more questions.
Sure.
So the clearinghouse, first of all, some people were saying that they had issues with finding the clearinghouse website. So we will make sure to send that out to everybody along with this recording. So you can also track
www.thesupplierclearinghouse.com. Yes, please send that out, and maybe shall I put it in the chat?
Yes, throw it in the chat. So somebody also asked, is the search for diverse suppliers in the clearinghouse public and available to everyone?
Yes, it is. You may go on and search for vendors. It is a public database.
Excellent. And now let me see if there's anything else. There's somebody else who had a question regarding the Department of Transportation, but that's a whole other thing. The Department of Transportation and the CPUC have different categories and accept different things. I'll reach out to you regarding that as well, Bob. Is there anything else? No. So our next person now, everybody, a lot of people have questions regarding the certification and what that takes to get this new disabled certification, which now if you are a disabled veteran outside of the state of California, we now California welcomes you to come in and work with utilities here in California, but under the certification in either with disability inclusion or through the clearinghouse. There's two opportunities there. And if you're working that, so Stephanie, let me just ask you. So if you're working outside of the state, you need to either go through DisabilityIN or go through the clearinghouse to become a disabled business to work in California.
Enterprise, correct.
Okay, so you have to go through the clearinghouse if you are
or DisabilityIN.
Or DisabilityIN. Excellent.
You can, if you have a DisabilityIN certification, you can come to the clearinghouse. But either way, if you want to do business with any of the entities we mentioned today, you do need to get in the clearinghouse.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Stephanie. And now we're going to hear from Philip from Disability Inclusion. So they are a partner with the CPUC. They are an amazing organization. We've had an MOU with them for a couple of years, and they have an amazing conference and super supportive. They have great advocates throughout the U.S. So without further ado, I'm going to hand it on over to Philip from Disability Inclusion, talking about the certifications and what that all entails.
Awesome. Thank you, Rebecca. And thank you everyone for joining us today. I'm super excited. And I'd also like to thank Stephanie, who really was the motivation and the impetus around including disability-owned businesses within the CPUC supplier diversity program. So we can't thank Stephanie enough. Again, my name is Philip DeVliegher. I'm the Vice President of Supplier Diversity at DisabilityIN. For those of you who may not be able to see your screen, I am a white male with gray hair, a gray goatee. I'm wearing a blue linen shirt, and I'm calling in from my home office outside of Washington, D.C. in Maryland. So again, it's great to be with you today. And Rebecca, if you wouldn't mind just advancing the slide, we'll go to the next one. A little bit about DisabilityIN and what we do. We work with about 400 currently corporate partners, and we help those corporate partners become more disability inclusive within their supply chains, that's us, their marketplace, and also their workplace. So our mission really is to drive disability inclusion in business. And the foundation of that really begins with our certification. And it is a rigorous, highly credible 2-year currently international certification trusted by our corporate partners, as well as recognized by the $1 Billion Roundtable. We're very proud of the work that we do around certification, and I'll talk a little bit more about the details of what that looks like for you. But this is kind of the foundation of what we do. And then the next steps around helping you as diverse owned businesses kind of become contract ready and helping you with the tools, the resources you need to be the best that you can be. And then finally, helping you make those connections to our corporate partners. Again, well over 400. And Stephanie, showed a slide of many of the utility companies that are part of this initiative. Well, many of those organizations are our corporate partners already. So, we're very excited to be part of this growth initiative around including disability-owned businesses within the CPUC initiatives. So, next slide. So let's talk about the certification itself. And a lot of the information that Stephanie shared around the criteria of being at least 51% owned, operated, managed, and controlled applies to our certification as well. We follow that same gold standard. We do have an online secure application process. We're actually in the middle of launching a new supplier certification portal right now, so that will be up and running within days. Some of the documents that are required include financial documents like tax returns and P&L statements, organizational and governance documents like articles of incorporation, articles of organization, your bylaws, operating agreements. And then we're going to ask you for your owner documents like your resume, a photo ID, proof of citizenship, like a passport and so forth, and then disability qualifying documents. So you need to prove to us that you are in fact a person with a disability. And there's lots of different ways that you can do that as just a person with a disability or a service disabled veteran. There's many different ways, and we have listed on our website all of those ways that you can provide that information to us. One unique thing about our certification, it is conducted by committee. So we have an international certification committee in place that is made up of mostly corporate partners, but also a few disability-owned business enterprises. And it's actually this committee that makes the decision around applications to become certified as disability-owned business enterprises. It's not Philip, it's not anyone on my team that makes that decision. It's this independent committee that actually reviews all of the application, reviews all of the documents that are required, and then as a committee, votes on whether or not that supplier applicant becomes certified. So that committee review typically takes between 30 to 90 days. And on the shorter end of that is going to include businesses that may already hold certifications through organizations like NAVOBA, the National Association of Veteran-Owned Businesses Association, NGLCC, the National LGBT Chamber of Commerce, WBENC, the Women's Business Enterprise National Council. So if you are certified currently with those organizations, your application and review process is relatively short. It's like within that 30-day time period. If you don't happen to be certified by another organization, it may take longer to do that. And we also accept VA verified veterans and make that process a little bit shorter for you as well. But know that part of our certification process does include a site interview for those of you who may not be certified through another organization. So when we have this reciprocity agreement with these organizations, it means that our process is basically the same as theirs. So if you become certified by DisabilityIN and you go to Novoba to become certified, you're guaranteed that that process is going to look very similar. And that's why we can have that reciprocity agreement. Our certification, as I mentioned before, is valid for 2 years. This could actually change to 3 years. So we are currently in discussions with, in particular, Novoba, our friends at Novoba, to move to a 3-year certification cycle. Anything to make it easier for our suppliers, we are always looking for ways to do that. And that's one of the ways, and to keep the costs down as well. So we really don't charge a significant amount comparatively to certification, and have kept this cost at this $300 since we've started the program, actually. So with that, Rebecca, I know you have questions.
I have a couple questions. So so you guys do accept the SDVOSB, the VA certification, as kind of like a accelerated process.
That's exactly right. Yes, we do.
Excellent. And now the second one is the $300 cost. Does that matter what size your business? If you're a multi 10, 20, 50
Yep.
million, you're still paying the $300.
That's exactly right. It's a flat fee regardless of the revenues that you generate as a company. It's really, we see it as really not a revenue generator for us as an organization. It's really an administrative fee to cover those costs. So again, we really try to make it easier for our supplier applicants to get through the process. And to break down any barriers that may exist, one of those being the cost.
And Philip, the last question is, if you get your disability inclusion certificate, that is good to do work in California.
You better believe it. It is an international certification, so it is recognized across the country, including in California.
Okay, excellent. Thank you so much. Should I go forward?
I think you can, and I think that's probably it. So this is all of my team's contact information, including myself. If you have any additional questions around the certification process and are interested in becoming certified with DisabilityIN, you may contact me. Cami Turcott is our Senior Manager of Certification and Stakeholder Engagement. She can absolutely answer any questions you might have. You can reach her at cami@disabilityin.org. And then once you're certified, one of the benefits of becoming certified with DisabilityIN is to have access to all of these different programs that we provide to you as a supplier, one of which is our supplier mentoring program, where you are actually paired up with one of our corporate partners for a year-long self-paced program that can help you, overcome some of the challenges that you may be encountering. And Kathleen Castori on my team leads that program. So for us, the benefit of certification with DisabilityIN is not just the access to those opportunities that you may have in California, but it's also access to the network and to the learning opportunities that are available to you through oftentimes our corporate partners.
Excellent. Thank you so much. We have a couple questions for both Stephanie and Philip. So one of the questions is, if they are not domiciled if a disabled veteran or disabled business is not here in California or disabled in California, can they receive the disability certification through DisabilityIN, even though they're not domiciled in California, and their spend can be captured in the program as a disability certificate only? So they're not part of the DVBE program, they're not part of a veteran. So a disabled veteran would only be able to be counted in the utilities as a disabled certificate, certified business only.
Disabled business enterprise, that is correct.
Okay, excellent. And then,
So,
yes, so now with this new category of disabled business, so they can, you know, go through disability inclusion to find those certified disabled businesses. And with the DVBE program, if you're here in California, you can actually go to your DVBE and they would also be considered disabled as well. So for California.
correct. So our California veterans, if they are disabled, can get, will have a disabled veteran business enterprise certification and a disabled business enterprise certification. So they'll have two certifications. They're able to, fully participate in the program. Veterans outside of California who are disabled will be able to get a disabled certification. They can go directly to our clearinghouse or they can go to DisabilityIN. Now, if they go to DisabilityIN, that's great. But they do still need to get in the clearinghouse if they want to do business with the entities that I have showcased, because they can only spend with firms that are in our clearinghouse. But the advantage is if you're in DisabilityIN, it's that streamlined process and it's a little shorter because we have that reciprocity. So California domicile companies are going to have a little bit of an advantage because they're going to have that two certifications. But don't worry, all of our vets and all of our firms outside of California can now participate because they can be disabled business enterprises. So they will now be able to participate in the program.
So this is great as far as DVBEs in California, because now they can have two categories, the DVBE, and if somebody says, oh, we've met our, let's just say we've met our requirements, or then you can say, hey, you know what, I also have my disabled certification as well. So
Exactly.
so now veterans can be counted, disabled veterans can be counted twice now.
Correct. As long as they're California domiciled.
As long
Because
as they're California.
disabled veterans outside of California, unfortunately, because of the rules, do not qualify because it does require California domicility to be a disabled veteran business enterprise. To be a DVBE, you do have to be California domiciled.
Excellent. And then Philip, somebody asked about your foreign corporations. If they want to know more about disability inclusion and see who your supporters are, they can just get on your website and find out. And then do you want to talk about your conference coming up as well? This is a great opportunity. We'll be there. We'll have a booth, so the VIP will be there. So if you're on this call, we welcome you to join us as well.
Of course, and thank you, Rebecca, and thank you, Michael, for that question. Like Rebecca said, just go to DisabilityIN.org and look under our corporate partners, and you'll find a current listing of all of our corporate partners that we do, that we work with, and that you can potentially do business with. So happy to connect you with any of those if you're certified with DisabilityIN. That's part of our role in again connecting our suppliers to our corporate partners. And Rebecca, again, thanks for the shout out around our conference. We're super excited about our global conference this year. It's in Dallas, Texas, in person, the week of July 18th. You may also go on our website, DisabilityIN.org, and go to events, and you'll find a link to how to register to be part of our conference if you'd like to join us in person. We have terrific breakout sessions, learning sessions. Again, we do more than just supplier diversity at DisabilityIN. So you're going to see workplace initiatives, you're going to see supply chain, you're going to see marketplace, all kinds of folks that come together. I think last year we had well over 4,000 attendees at our virtual conference, and hope to have a really strong turnout this year at our conference in person in Dallas. And part of that conference will be matchmaking events. So you'll be able to speed date with our corporate partners and seek opportunities and connections that way.
Fantastic. Well, I don't see any other questions.
Becca, can I give a shout out that we have
sure.
it's not a conference, but we have our annual en banc on October 14th, which I think most everybody can learn a little something. All the participating entities participate, their leadership is there, and it's just a good chance to delve into supplier diversity and our program. So October 14th is the date.
So those of you who don't know about en banc, if you've never heard about it, so en banc is a one-day event where all the utilities go and they share their reports, they share everything, all the supplier diversity efforts that they've been making throughout the year, and Stephanie Green and their team put this all together, and they just kind of go detail by detail about, how are they doing with each different community, the DVBE community and the LGBTQ community and the minorities. So they go by each community and they talk about the numbers. So if you've never been, it's very interesting. This is where the rubber hits the road at this en banc, and it's going to be in October. What date do you know, Stephanie?
14th, October 14th.
October 14th. If you've never been, I highly encourage you to check it out. It is very interesting. And a lot of supplier diversity professionals are there. So if you've ever wanted to get connected, it's a great opportunity to be there as well. Any last bit of remarks before we take off and give everybody about 10 minutes back of their day?
Yeah, Rebecca, if I could, this is Philip. To address, Michael had a previous question around our corporate partners, but he also brought up a really good point. It sounds like Michael is already certified with NAVOBA and with the veteran organization outside of NAVOBA. And we always encourage suppliers to seek as many certifications that makes sense for you, because you never know what those potential corporate clients are going to look for and where their goals and where their needs are. So I would encourage you, and there's news to come around our relationship with NAVOBA, so stay tuned for that, but I would encourage you to seek out as many certifications that make sense for you.
Absolutely echo that. I mean, I had that throughout my presentation, is the benefits of certification. And I will tell you, once you get certified once, you've got the paperwork there. There's like economies of scale. Getting a second or a third one is pretty easy because you've already done the hard work because you gathered it all that for that first certification. So once you get that hurdle of getting certified once, getting a second one is really pretty easy because, as I said, you've kind of gathered all the documents, you've got everything ready. So yes, absolutely. Second that thought that certifications can be a great tool and get all that are relevant and make sense.
We say, the certifications is one stuff, but you still have one step, but you still have to do the work. You still have to go to the events, you still have to network and utilize that certification. The certification is just the key. You still have to put the key in the door, turn the knob, and open the door. So it's giving you this opportunity you may have not had before. So you still have to be cheaper, faster, better than your competition, and you got to work it. So another quick question was where is the event going to, the en banc going to be this year? Where can they find out about that?
Well, that is a very good question. And COVID makes COVID's been like a roller coaster. At the moment, it was planned to be virtual, but it looks like as of this week, we may be able to do it in person, and it will be in Sacramento. So I am going to say it's a hybrid, virtual / in person, but we've, with the pace of COVID, it's been really difficult. And We had planned for virtual, but now it looks like we may be able to have this an in-person component. And again, it would be Sacramento. But
Excellent.
stay tuned and hope that COVID cooperates for us all.
So, so make sure if you get the VIB newsletter, we will, once we know about the en banc, we've been so fortunate to have Cole Woodman, our chairperson, actually speak at en banc for the past couple of years. So once we know when en banc is, we will make sure and share that with everybody on our newsletter as well. And then regarding Novoba, you can actually, if you just put in Novoba, you should be able to find their information. What does Novoba stand for, Phil? It's National Association.
National Association of Veteran.
Oh, now, so
Right, like I can't think.
National Veteran-Owned Businesses Association.
Right.
Excellent, thank you. So if you check that out, you should be able to find them. I'll actually include a lot of links on a follow-up email that you should be receiving by Thursday. You should receive this slide deck as well as the recording, and then a few links as well to the clearinghouse and to Novoba and to disability inclusion. If there is no other questions, I think we're good. And so we're giving people back some time in their day. They appreciate that. Thank you all for joining this really insightful webinar. We had a lot of great things that we wanted to share with you. Like I had mentioned, we will share this with everybody on the call. If you don't receive anything by Friday, it will be on the VIB website. And we have a YouTube channel if you don't follow us. So if you want to get on our YouTube channel, and it actually, it will be living there as well. But thank you so much, Stephanie and Philip. You know, I think this is a very exciting time for disabled veterans outside of the state of California who've been wanting to work with the California utilities. And for us as an organization, when we have our conference, you know, now we're excited because we can have, you know, more veterans nationwide come and attend and work with the utilities in the state of California. So very exciting things to come, and we're fresh off the press, just 1 week old, and we're already getting the word out there. So
we're off to a good start. I love it.
That's right.
Start. So thank you all again. We appreciate you coming. Thank you, Philip, and thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you, Rebecca.
On the back end, who is working the Q&A, and appreciate everybody. And we will share all of this. Have a great rest of the day.
You too.
Have
Thanks,
a good
Rebecca.
week, everybody. Bye. Thanks, Rebecca.
Thank you.